Hello, guys. This is Mridul Bansal, and I'm back with yet another podcast. Today, I'm talking about something that really is very close to all of our hearts, something that most of the Indians and even NRIs and those who are immigrants in this great country, the USA, often feel about, or those who are even in other countries outside their home country. They often think about, they often talk about in social circles, something that really touches everyone's lives, and that is to talk about going back home. It's always the fact that no matter how long we've been away from home, our roots always try to pull us. And that's where I wanted to bring out this podcast with the recent churn in the economy and all the issues with visas that people struggle with. I thought this is a good time to really understand more about the process, the decision-making process behind going back home. And why not discuss that with someone who has done that for a long time, like almost 8 years, an expert in NRI counseling. And that's where we have on our podcast show the guest today, Ms. Nupur Dave. Ms. Nupur Dave, just for a brief intro, is an NRI counselor, an author, and an ex-Googler. He lived in the US for more than 13 years and moved to India in almost 2016. Ever since then, she has helped more than 500 NRIs in making a decision to live, and her influential writing I said she's an author. Her influential writing has clocked almost 3 million views. Nipur has also worked with the Prime Minister's office in India, and she was the CEO of the Indian Googler Network and is a LinkedIn Spotlight awardee. She's currently writing her third book on the topic of navigating life for single NRIs, which is a pretty interesting topic. So, without spending much time now, I would like to dive right back into the topic for today. So, welcome, Nupur. How are you feeling?
I'm doing great, Mridul. Thank you so much for having me.
Great. Yeah. So again, I think, like I said in my intro, we want to talk about the life of NRIs and talk about going back home. So I've read your book and I've seen a bunch of your interviews also. I've been following you since so many years on social media, and we sometimes interacted. So I wanted to understand for our viewers that what are the different reasons that you have seen so far. You have interacted with so many people that really press the people to decide about going back home. What are the different categories? What are the different reasons why? Yeah.
Absolutely, Mridul. So, based on whatever I've spoken to so many NRIs, I have a view on the backdoor conversation with these NRIs. And the interesting part is that the reason they may give the world about why they're moving back may not be the real reason they are moving back. And that is one thing that I really want to point out to a lot of NRIs that are listening to this podcast, because some NRIs start feeling like that either they are inadequate or their reasons are not the same reasons why their friends went back. And it seems like everybody else has such a smooth journey and a smooth, valid reason to move to India. But here is me being the NRI feeling stuck and confused about moving back. So I do want to pull out some common reasons that people actually move back for. Surprisingly high number of reason is because their visa is going to expire, especially those who've not been able to renew their visa. That's one reason, and that's fairly obvious reason to move back. Although the trend that I'm seeing amongst those people now is to move to Canada. They file a PR there in advance. The second reason is, just being so lonely and just not feeling at home in specifically the United States, but this is also true in other countries as well. The difference is that in other countries, they may be able to visit India more often than people in the United States. So that sense of hurt is not as bad as those who are in the US so far away, feeling like they don't belong. So that is a very slow burn, and it takes them a long time to make the decision to move. The other decision is kids. So actually you could divide this into two parts. One is those who have newborns or kids below the age of 2, where they are just simply overwhelmed by the amount of work and stress and pressure that they have in managing a job, a house, and kids alone in the US. So these folks move back because they get support in India. And then the other one who may have slightly older kids who've been through that phase of, the trouble twosome or whatever it's called. These ones are now starting to feel like, what, we need to give our kids an environment where they can know their country and their culture. And these are the ones who've been also thinking of moving for a very long time. And then they finally decide to move. And but the main pull is of a family in India, the parents aging, and so all of this comes together to become a reason for people to move back. Rarely other reasons of, I hate my job, so I'm going to move back to India. That's not reason enough to make them move all the way. So yeah, this is the long and short of it, Mridul.
Well, yeah, kind of makes sense. I mean, if job was the reason, I think there are short-term alternatives, like you also covered, that they can try to change the city, they can try to change the country, or they can change the job, obviously. So I mean, I understand that those are short-term reasons.